Sorry about that. Oh, yes. I'm surrounded by two handsome men. How blessed am I? So, how are you all doing this morning? Great. Oh, it's a little nippy out. It feels so good. So, anyway, let's get going. We have a lot to cover today. So, let's do our mission statement, please. We are a dynamic, open, and positive faith community that accepts all religions. Our mission is to awaken you to your divine nature, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. We are changing lives one heart at a time. All right, so let's see what's going on. So, Dr. Joe, do you want to talk?
All right, so tomorrow I'm launching my class called Self-Mastery. If you in any way, shape, or form get upset about what's going on in the world around you, anybody get upset?
No.
No. Anybody get frustrated when you turn on the news? And how about frustrated with someone else? Anybody? Yeah. How many of you take things personally? Anybody? Okay. You all need therapy and my class. Make no mistake, you would need this class. You don't know that you need this class, but you need this class. I suggest you try one. Try one tomorrow. Come tomorrow at 9 a.m. or again at 6 p.m. Just dip your toe in and see what it feels like. For those people that have just completed our 10-week course, I was amazed at the class projects. Their lives shifted in a 10 short weeks, and I tell everyone this, you're going to be 10 weeks older, but at the end of May, you're still going to be as old as you are at the end of May, with or without this class. The difference is going to be what your life looks like. So the 4 agreements, self-mastery, learn how to master some of these life skills and spiritual skills so that you can go through life not taking everything so personally, not feeling attacked, and not really getting bogged down in assumptions and really having difficulty in your relationship. So tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock till noon, and again at 6 o'clock. So we'll see you there, all right?
Yes. If your life isn't perfect, then you should be in there. And you should be taking classes, because that's why we offer classes, to shift the consciousness. You know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and then you wonder why your life is the way it is, maybe that's why. Anyway, and here's another opportunity, the Principles of Successful Living. And Dale, this is the last week to sign up, and it's on Wednesdays at 11:30 to 2:30, and this is an accredited class. And what else do we have? And then this Wednesday, this is for the cost is $50, okay? Now, it might sound a lot, but you're going to get a lot of legal advice on your wills, your bequests, making sure you have everything in order when you do make your transition. You don't want to leave your family not knowing what your wishes were. So please join Francine this Wednesday at 5:30. And then next Sunday, she will be doing her Esteemable Acts seminar, and that's at 1 o'clock. So join her for that. It's an ongoing series. And then Laura and Annie Meeks are hosting an Easter potluck party. How sweet. They are so gracious, and this is being hosted by the Rainbow Alliance. Please sign up. That's next Sunday, March 25th. Please sign up on the table out front for that. I'm starting my new book study, Quantum Leap Thinking. I love me some quantum physics. And anyway, please join us. It really, I feel, proves what Dr. Ernest Holmes talks about what you focus on, what you believe, how you really manifest it. And so if you want to learn about how do you start changing your thinking, because what happens is we have our old thinking that keeps pulling us back into our old habits. So please join us. It's just a love offering. We have great dialogue. It's a fun group to be a part of. And then we're having on April 8th our Reignite. That's for anybody that if you've been here, I don't care, for a while, you have not taken a membership class, you need to be in there. In this class, we can speak to you like we can't speak to you on Sundays, because you are the family. We can tell you more of what's going on and sharing with you. You can ask your questions. And so if you have not, it's only one Sunday, I really suggest that You sign up for that. Everybody, if you've been here for a while and you haven't taken a membership class, you should be in that class. And then this Wednesday, Michael Kukuru is doing his Keeping the Faith of Love Alive. And that's at, I can't read the time. What time is it? 6:30. Thank you. It's at 6:30 this Wednesday. So please join Michael for that. And is that it? Easter egg hunt. Okay, so April 1st, just all of you who are having your grandbabies here or you have kids, they're gonna have an Easter egg hunt over in the children's section over in the Rose Garden and around. So please make sure you bring your kids there, and it'll be a lot of fun for them. And I think that's it. So we have got an amazing singer today. Deanna Bogart is here, and she just travels all over. She's been all over Europe. She's fit us in because she loves to be here. She's going to be for the next 2 Mondays at Vicky's Santa Fe. So let's give her a warm welcome, please.
It's all about heart and soul. It's all about heart and soul. Hi, guys. All the years they come and go. All the time, the folks I know, no surprise that I recall. I close my eyes, I can see them all. One part each, 3 darkest doors. I always reach for something more. Before I leave it all behind. Or better yet, just fine. And I'll hit heart and soul. Yes, I am. Heart and soul. For the good times and the bad. Heart and soul. With my life in control. I am in it. Heart and soul. I've heard said it's meant to be. That will never, ever, never work for me. Work for me. There's the joy to the pain. I know they'll both be back to share the rain. Some will run, some will run, and some will wait, some will wait till you know, not too late. If that's the key, it's been found. That's how it is. Just no way around. Then I'm in heart and soul. Heart and soul. For the good times, the time and the bad. Heart and soul. With my life in control. I am in heart and soul. Every day now, along the way now, on my bureau. Though I have tried, though, and I'm sure that it's sure. Well, every day now, along the way now, all I'm truly owed. It's the truth of what's at the root of each and every seed I've sown. Now ask the man across from me. He lost his life at 103. Held my hand, said I won't lie. Just live your life until you die.
good. Thank you. That was fun. Thank you. Wow. Good morning. I know. And now let's slip into meditation. Right? It's like from going to cardio to a nap. Sounds pretty good, actually. All right, let's take a deep breath in, yes? Exhale out. Another really deep breath in. Hold it for a couple seconds. And then blow that all the way out. For those of you here for the very first time, this is the time in the service where we go into meditation and then we have some silence. Actually, meditation, a prayer, and then some silence. It's your time to reflect on not looking for answers in your life, but allowing yourself just to be fully present in this moment and not coloring it with the problems of your life or the day, but rather just being in a space where you're open and receptive to receiving a message that can move you forward, not just in one way, but in many ways in your life. To allow yourself to just become fully present and to breathe the thing that's breathing you, accept the fact that something is moving in and around and through you, allowing you to continue to be here on this great planet, and that whatever that life force is moving in your life. So let's unify with that right now by taking a deep breath in. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your love will light my way. Show me the way. Sing after me, please. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your joy will light my way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your peace will light my way. My way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your truth will light my way. My way.
Show me the way. And as we know the way to be an infinite, changeless, timeless intelligence, that which is the origin of all life, the creator of all existence. And as pure goodness, I call that life God, as the source and substance, the spirit that moves in and through everything. That life is our life, that we live, move, and have our very being in it. And one with that life, we are one with that creator. We have all the attributes of God itself. Its life, its light, its love, its peace, its power, its beauty and joy. For God's nature is our nature. And when we come from that place of oneness, we are living as our authentic self, the truth of who we are, that God self. And as we recognize that there is a purpose for this life and a plan to fulfill that purpose,
We know what to do and when to do it, when our will is God's will. For God's will is always for our highest and best, and when we are in that oneness with that will, our life unfolds with pure goodness. Sometimes in a quiet, gentle way, or other times with passion and more demand, we are guided and directed. That God has gone before us and made our way perfect. That we are given unlimited resources without condition to guarantee our success. And in that will, we live our life fully. We experience radiant, perfect health, and we have prosperity beyond measure through God's abundance. And in gratitude that our will is God's will, we live a life of grace and ease. And gratefully, as I release us to the next moment of that goodness, I release these words to the law of mind, knowing it is done unto us as we believe. And so, as these words resonate with you, let us claim them and affirm them by saying right now, and so it is. Amen.
Show me the way. Sing after me, please. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your love will light my way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your joy will light my way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your peace will light my way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Your truth will light my way. And your love will light my way. And your joy will light my way. And your peace will light my way. And your truth will light my way. Let's take a deep breath in. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens. And it returns to me, sending out joy. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens. And it returns to me, sending out peace. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens. And it returns to me. Sending out love, sing it out. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens. And it returns to me. It returns to me, and it returns to me.
Battered and torn, still I can see the light. Tattered and worn, must I kneel to fight? Friend of mine, what can't you spare? I know sometimes it gets cold in there, and when my legs no longer carry, and the warm wind chills my bones, I reach for Mother Mary, and I shall not walk alone. Hope is alive while we're apart, and only tears speak from my heart. So break the chains, break the chains that hold us down, and we shall be forever bound. And when I'm tired and weary, and the long, long way home, I reach for Mother Mary, beauty left, left behind. And how shall we tomorrow find? Set us on our way in sin, so that we can live again. And when my Lord carry, and the warm wind I shall not walk alone. No, I shall not walk alone. No, I shall not walk alone.
Deanna, great job. Thank you. Well, let's hear it for the band and the backup singers again this week. Doing a great job. So hopefully when you came in today, there was someone to hand you a little our printout of today's talk. One of the reasons I wanted more people to get it than not this week is some people just do it voluntarily. The subject matter today is kind of deep for me, and actually you can turn the spotlight off. I feel like I'm on Broadway. The subject matter today is a little bit challenging for me, and it's kind of nice. Every once in a while, wow, I'm blinded. Hold on. It's sort of challenging for me because, well, you'll find out when we go dive into it. How's that, okay? So today's talk title, or the theme for the month is I am rooted in the divine. Say that, please. I am rooted in the divine. Today's talk is called Thy Will Be Done. Say that with me, please. Thy will be done. Now, you know what? I realize that sometimes I hear thy will be done, usually when it's just before I'm getting a diagnosis from a doctor, or I'm bedside with someone who's sick, or there's some negative connotation attached to thy will be done. You never hear of anybody at the blackjack table going, thy will be done, hit me, right? You don't hear that. You don't hear it in there's a reference to thy will be done where there's some sort of a, okay, God, we're looking at something dark here. You need to take charge. Does that ring with anyone else? That there's sort of a negative? The implication relative to the will of God in this prayer is not a submission to the inevitability of evil or limitation. It is a knowledge that the will of God is always good. What if we could shift that? And what if we would start saying, thy will be done when there's something you want wonderful to happen in your life? And you say, thy will be done, and you're excited about it, instead of this idea of thy will be done, God, I hope it's done. Does that make sense? All right, God's will for us is our deepest, most authentic will. God's nature and God's will are identical. Let's say that again. God's nature and God's will are identical. And so, let's talk about that. Therefore, always our happiness, wholeness, peace, harmony, joy, freedom, self-expression, abundance, serenity, and the list goes on and on. If you want to base yourself in a new idea about God's will, we want to base ourselves with the idea that these are the things that God is willing for us. Willing, I'll say this, to do for us. Does that make sense? Because the will of God, one needs a willing participant to participate. You are its expression. So it has the will, but you have to be willing. Does that make sense? Which means sometimes we have to change the way we look at things so that the will can express itself. Because sometimes if we're looking at something dark or not as light as we want it, but let's say we're looking at something dark or something we dread, we want the will of God to express these qualities So we have to be willing to accept those qualities while we're sitting in something else. Does this make sense? Kind of nod your head affirmatively every now and then. Okay, good. Freedom from bondage is a thing which we must inwardly perceive. This perception is the greatest of all perceptions. So when we're talking about the will of God and our will, we have to make sure that our perceptions are really clear. Because this thing, that bondage that we have ourselves in, that the will of God somehow has something to do with resolving something negative and not creating something positive, is a perception issue. And we want to move into a freedom so that we see the will of God as always working in our life to move us forward. Does that make sense? Together, please. You say it that enthusiastically, I guarantee you nothing's going to happen. Let's try that again. Thy will be done. Yes, there we go. I want to separate this today into 3 different categories. My will, God's will, and one will. All right? So here we go. My will. My will is usually conditioned will versus my most true, authentic will. So I'm going to dive into this. My will is conditioned. God's will, God's nature, and God's will are always identical. Therefore, God's will is always for our happiness, wholeness, peace, harmony, joy, freedom, self-expression, abundance, serenity. That's God's will. But let's talk about the one will. My truest and most authentic will is the will of the heart, God's heart, which is God's will and God's nature. So I want to move into, instead of thy will be done, our will be done. Does that make sense? Because I want it not just to be mine, I want it to be ours. Our will for goodness, for happiness, for abundance, for health, for all the attributes that God is. I want us to use our one will. Our one will. Does that make sense? So here we go. My will. My conditioned will is the will of my conditioned past, which consists of my experiences and circumstances in life up till now. Key words, up till now. Say it again. Up till now. Got it. So you are given permission to take all of those life experiences, combine them all, and understand how they had a bearing in creating your will. Good, you're getting it. Okay, let's do it again. Had a bearing in creating your will up till now. Period. Good. Are you with me? It's a jigsaw puzzle. We're good. It includes anything unhealed within me. So your will, see, here's why when something goes on that's negative in nature, we've been trained then to hand it over to God. Not until then. Usually we try to manage it ourselves with our case manager and HMO, right? We try to handle it ourselves. So there's always that transition. So now we're talking about, you know what? Anything unhealed in me needs to be turned over and changed. It has a personal agenda and is propelled by old habit patterns which assert themselves into reality, usually on copilot. Usually, our will, the one we've created, through our past experiences, past belief systems, and paradigms that we apply so we can go through our daily life, usually those things are done on autopilot. We don't even think about it. We just do them. So our will, my will, has always been based on my life experiences up until now, right? Your will has been based upon all these things, even your unhealed past, up till now. But today we want to shift that. Okay, I'm going to keep going. It is the will that demands that things be more, better, or different in order to be happy. It is the movement of thought that demands something other than what is in front of us to happen. It rejects what is and causes tension in the body. So there is a part of our will that we know when things aren't what we want them to be. And that recognition of knowing this, 2 things happen. First of all, in our subconscious mind, we settle for it because that's just the way it's been. Sound familiar? I'm not going to shift this because that's the way it's been. But there's also part of us that knows it should be better. But how do we struggle with that? How do we what's the word I want? How do we reconcile that? That the what has been and this heap of past experiences, right? This overwhelming sense of, I've been doing the same thing and thinking the same thing primarily for 50 some odd years. How do I suddenly shift that into this new idea? That's when I need to move from my will, the old past one, to your new will. Are you with me? These are the contents of your new will. So when you say, this is my will, I want you to look at this, and maybe you can pair yourself up to this idea. Are we good? Are you guys okay? All right, because you guys are looking, hopefully you're all thinking, not sleeping. Will you turn the fans on, please? The good news is that there are gaps between the thoughts about what I want and what I don't want. It is in these gaps that we discover our truest and deepest will and nature, which is the nature of God. The nature of God and the will of God, again, are the same. So, there are gaps. There are gaps. When life stinks, and I think about how life stinks, I also have a gap in my thinking. We all do. There's a gap in my thinking that says it shouldn't be like this. Whether you say it out loud or silently to yourself, the recognition that something isn't right presents a gap for you. Are you really? Are you with me? All right. It is in that gap that we're now going to put in your new will. Okay? You're going to take out with yourself today, out of this room, a new idea of what your will is and how your will fits into this divine plan and the nature of God that has already been laid out before us. That we are literally working through that. It doesn't have to do with anything on your past, no unhealed, nothing. We have to let that go, let it be, just let it sit. It will bake itself off. All right? Here we go. Together, please. Thy will be done. So, let's talk about God's will. How we have my truest will now, that now takes place in the gaps. Now I need to understand how God's will becomes part of my will. Because if I am the living, breathing personification of God in action, then I need to understand how the universe is working in my favor, and that it is working in my favor even when I'm not. The universe works in your favor even when you're not. Okay? Because it's nature, it can't work any other way. Think about it. If the nature of God is to go boom, 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 then it doesn't matter what kind of noise I'm making over here. Boom, 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 boom. The boom is still going. Does that make sense? Oh, I'm burning up. Okay, God's will is the will of the heart. It is that within us which gives itself wholeheartedly without words and silently to the present moment. It doesn't need an announcement. It doesn't need to be, da-da-da-da, this is God's will. Doesn't need an introduction. It's a silent feeling within you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, it's not like out there somewhere, like Big Daddy in the sky with the will that I'm clueless about. It comes from the deepest place within. Is of the highest vibration and the most authentic truth of life. It is always for us and never against us. Say that last line. It is always for us and never against us. Please don't ever take a tragic situation and say to yourself, I guess it's God's will that I suffer, experience loss, grief, whatever that is. When we do that, we're forgetting that the universe is always working for the greater good of all people, and that includes us. And when we are in positions of pain, do not chalk it up to God's will wanting us to be in pain. Usually, it's because we did something that created this pain in our lives. It could be something that we didn't think would ever create pain in our life, like get married. Seriously. Okay. So you laugh. Go ahead, laugh at that. It's okay. Think about it. You don't think when you get married that one of you is going to outlive the other. You don't think about that. And so when the end of life comes for one person or the other, It's not God's will that one person go before the other one. It's not God. That's just life circumstance unfolding. It wasn't meant for one person to suffer and stay here and another person to go. It wasn't meant to do that. But it's a byproduct of being in a committed relationship and being in love. Does that make sense? So to me, we have to make sure we sign up for all kinds of things. And sometimes the byproduct are things we don't expect or see in the future. But we can't pair those up with God's will if there's pain and suffering, because we all signed up to play there. I mean, I'm just thinking of a friend of mine yesterday who had to put his pet to sleep, had to put his pet down, and how painful that was. But I also know that, God, when you sign up to take one of our puppies, we have puppies today. Puppies, cute little puppies. They're adorable. They're adorable. Yeah, we sign up for all of it. All the adorable, all the chewing on your furniture, all the love and the warmth and the fact that they just love you and their tails wag. But we also sign up for all of it. Are you with me? God is never testing or giving us trials and tribulations to overcome. That's not the kind of God we believe in. However, if this is what you believe about God, then trials and tribulations will show up to test you according to that belief. Okay? If you believe in a God, God's just testing me, then tests you shall have. And I hope you do well on tests. I'm not particularly good at testing, right? I tend to not do well on testing, so I have to shy away from a God that wants to give me trials, tribulations, and tests to see whether my faith is strong or not. I'm just going to live it. I don't need tests. Trust me, everyone in this room is test enough. I don't have to volunteer to have more. You don't have to volunteer to have more tests in your life. The people in your life can test you enough. You don't need to say, okay, God, show me the way by testing me. So don't ever think that a trial or tribulation is God's way of testing you, all right? This type of bondage is human-made, thought-made. It is a result of a faulty belief. So if you believe in that God is testing you, in my mind, that's a faulty belief, because what is the nature of God? Did you see testing anywhere in the attributes that I said in the nature of God? Testing? Trials, tribulations, turmoil, disease? Anything in there? Discord, divorce, whatever? What was that in any of God's nature? But our old paradigm, anybody have that old paradigm? If you do, say amen. Amen. Yeah, see, there's an old paradigm there. And those are hard to rid yourself of when you're talking about something like this, because it's still in the back of your mind. This is God's testing my strength. No, it's not. God doesn't test. What it's testing is whether or not you have faith or not, just to keep walking forward, knowing that God is good and good is coming. And that more good is coming, and that more good is coming, and that more good is coming. Are you there? If you're there, then you're good. But if you're not, you're saying, this is God's will that I be tested, and I can fail this test. When I say to myself, I'm being tested, there's also in the back of our minds, what happens if I fail? This is a metaphysician nightmare. A metaphysician's nightmare, because you say to yourself, like what happens if it doesn't work? So let's back up. In quantum physics, we know this. It's not that it doesn't work. And like I've said to you before, it's not wrong. It's just the wrong arrangement of right. And right can be rearranged. Or the wrong can be rearranged to be right. Does that make sense? So while it may appear to be wrong in that you failed the test, no, you didn't. Chill. You're given an opportunity to make what's wrong right, right? You can take that wrong arrangement, because within the wrong arrangement are all the elements of right. It's like a Rubik's Cube. You just have to figure it out. And you're given the wisdom to do it. It's not by chance or by luck, right? It's not because one day you're in God's favor and one day you're not. It's all because you have the spiritual skills to do what you need to do. You have the power of meditation, which if you've taken my class, you know really well. They do. You know how to pray. You know how to do that really well. You know how to do the 5 steps of prayer and how to manifest in your world. You know how to find peace with that inner strength. You know how to do those things. So anytime you're in the wrong arrangement of right, don't look at it as a test. Just look at it as I am in the process of arranging this differently in my world. That will move me forward with the will of God because it complies with the will of God, which is always good. Does this make sense? God, I hope so. One will. One will. Just one. Just one. Quarters. I got something to read. Hold on. Think of a quarter. Think of one will as a quarter. It's important to note that while we speak of God's will and my will, there aren't 2 separate objects here. It's one and the same. Think of a quarter. A quarter is one coin with heads on one side, tails on the other. There is no separation, not 2 coins, just 2 different sides of the same coin. The head side is the coin of God's self. This is always for a freer, fuller, more expressed, expanded, higher version of the self. It leads us to a happy, whole, prosperous, joyful, loving, compassionate, and free life. The tail side of the coin is the human experience. It represents every experience that has molded and shaped us along the way and brings us to this moment now. It represents the movement of thought in response to the world. Some call it ego, but that confuses people, so let's just call it the small self. Are you ready? So we have the head sign, the God self, the tail sign, the small self, myself. Have you ever seen a quarter that looks like it's been through a lot? See that one on the bottom? I told William, I was texting William over the weekend, I said, I need a picture of 2 quarters, one relatively new and one old. So he picked 2 old quarters, and they just happened to be dated the year of my birth. 1963. Thank you, William. The old tired quarter is what it was called. Have you ever seen a quarter that looks like it's been through a lot? William, you can turn the ceiling fans off because we got the air on. Thank you. It might be responding and reacting to a life in a different way because of all that it has endured. Underneath the conditioning and beyond the dirt is the truest and most authentic self. You may need to polish it up a bit, but it's there. The human side of the coin needs polishing in order to get to the place of our deepest, most authentic and true self. It is there, behind the conditioning, where we meet our God self. Here is where we realize that our deepest and most authentic true will and God's will are the same will. So when you're looking at the quarter, you see the head, which is God's perfection. We see the tails, which is our life. They may be worn down, but underneath all of it, it's not 2 separate coins, it's one coin. It's one coin. So that means there's only one will. There isn't God's will and my will, there's only one will. Does this make sense? Can you see that? Wrapping up. When we make choices based on our past experiences from the unconditioned small self, it leads to bondage, and we are operating from the unpolished will. When we make choices based on the past, basically what we're doing is saying, keep the coin worn down. How many of you want to trade in coins? Anybody? Anybody tired of something in their life and they just want, and I'm not saying your whole life is a coin. Anybody want to trade in certain parts about your life and get rid of some coins and put new ones in their place? When we make choices based on the present moment, in the now, and from the essence of our highest self or God's self, we are in alignment with what is operating as God's will. In the midst of what is happening right now is the divine will. This is the will of the heart, and it is our deepest and most authentic will. And when I wrote that, in the midst of what is happening right now in our world, as challenging to some, scary to others, right? Just sometimes chaotic, sometimes fear-based, understand that there is a greater will unfolding here. And if you believe in it at all, we have to believe in all of it. If you believe in it at all, we have to believe all of it. You can't pick and choose how God's will is going to unfold. It either is or it ain't. And if you believe that it is, then it can't just do it in some areas, it does it in all areas. Which means I have to move with greater faith rather than fear. It means I have to be more tolerant rather than impatient. It means I need to be even more loving than judgmental. As we let go of any resistance to the moment and we need to change, as any need to change it and allow ourselves to be present, we come to realize that God's will and our truest will are one will. They're not separate. Together, please. Thy will be done. We good? All right.
That was great, Dr. Joe. Thank you. All right, so I'd love to call our concierge, our ushers, to please come forward. So this is that sacred time of our service where we just recognize our gratitude as we give in support of the center, as we give back into the universe so that our will, God's will, can continue on. So those of you that are live streaming, please, there's a donate button. We've got a new website coming out. I think it's already up. Oh, it's so exciting. Is it up, Jeff? Oh, it's wonderful. Make sure you go to our website. So it's a lot easier to donate now, so please do that. Or you can also text your offering. And so anyway, let us just say our offertory prayer together as we feel that gratitude that we have. I give my offering with gratitude as I recognize the demonstration of Spirit's generosity in all areas of my life.
With a grateful heart, I behold your goodness. With a grateful heart, I receive my good. Let us celebrate what the Lord hath made. My abundance starts with a grateful heart. Hallelujah, 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 a grateful heart. Hallelujah, 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 a grateful heart. With a faithful heart, I declare my blessing. With a faithful heart, I'm forever blessed. If I just believe, then I shall receive. My abundance starts with a faithful heart. Hallelujah, 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 a faithful heart. Hallelujah, 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 a faithful heart. With a giving heart, I'm a demonstration. With a giving heart, I am living proof. All that I provide will be multiplied. My abundance starts with a giving heart. Hallelujah, 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 a giving heart. Hallelujah, 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 a giving heart.
All right. All right. Thank you. Very nice, Michael. Very nice. You guys are awesome, as always. So let us just hold up our hands. Let's bless our offerings as we say together, this collective offering is Spirit in action. As it circulates into the universe, it touches and blesses many lives, including my own. Thank you, Dale. All right, so at this time, I'd like to welcome our visitors. If you are here for the first time, please don't be bashful. Please stand up so we have a gift for you, and we'd love to welcome you. All right, welcome, welcome. Oh, look at this is wonderful to have all these visitors here. So what we've given you is a container, a CD holder with information about who we are, but please stop by the foyer table and get a CD of a couple of Dr. Joe's talks, and we welcome you, and come back. If you're not from the Valley, come back and visit us. If you're from the Valley, come back and make this your spiritual home. This is part of our prayer team, and they will be over in the Ohm Room, which is in the next building over. So if you're going through anything, please go over there and stop and get some prayers. And these are our babies. They've got goodies, and they need food and blankets. They need food and blankets. Oh my gosh, you've got your hands full. Aren't they cute? So go home, take a little pet home. Oh my gosh. And there's all kinds of goodies, so support our pet ministry outside. So thank you, so cute. All right, so let's see what else. Okay, so don't forget, Dr. Joe's class is starting tomorrow, so please sign up and show up. We always have our grief work on Tuesday when it's back here, and we've got the Principles of Successful Living. Don't forget the estate planning this Wednesday night, and also Michael's class is there, Sacred Circle. We've got something like every day of the week. Those of you that have signed up for the membership class and were there last week, today is the second session, and that will be after the second service. And so I think that's it. So let's just take a deep breath and just recognize that there is only one life, and that life is God's life, and that life is our life. It is inseparable. Every breath we take is that life breathing into us. So we recognize that whatever is we are going through in our life, that divine intelligence, God's will, is pushing us forward and is always with us, guiding us, directing us to that happiness, that abundance, that joy, that health. That is our true nature. That is God's nature. That is our nature. So grateful for that awareness. So grateful for this center that reminds us of the truth of who we are, the truth of our life. For this wonderful music that opens our hearts and uplifts us, for our wonderful prayer team that is always there holding that light, that consciousness of our oneness, for every volunteer that we have here that is here in sacred service to us, we say thank you. So I know how truly blessed I am. I know how truly blessed each one of us is blessed. And so I just let it be, knowing that it is all in God's heart and in God's hand. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week.
Pull over and let love drive. Pull over and let love drive. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Pull over and let love drive. When you feel like life is just too much and you just may feel like giving up, don't lose hope, don't lose sight. Keep your eyes on the prize, it'll be alright. Pull over and let love drive. Pull over and let love drive. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Pull over and let love drive. Don't be sad to keep your eyes on the prize. It'll be alright. I'll pull over and let love drive. Pull over and let love drive. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Pull over and let love drive. Go to the bridge if you're tired. Pull over if you're lonely. Pull over if you can't go on. Pull over. Don't let her do you with your mama going for a spin. Pull over. Let love drive. Pull over and let love drive. Now just sit back and enjoy the ride. Let love drive. Pull over and let love drive. Pull over. Come on and let love drive. Beep, 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 yeah. Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Say hell with the wheel.
All right then. That was fun. Deanna, thanks for singing all day. No, it's great. I mean, I love having you up there, looking up there, and you're up there singing. That's great. Coolness. All right then. Yeah, right? I know, me too. That's why I couldn't remember the song to sing my soul was. Thank you. I will. I sat in the other night.
What they call it? Corner king. I'll bring it right back. You can do it. Piano too. Pianos and drums.
They're there on Fridays. So then somebody came up and gave me a $5 bill. But he goes, I got something for you. I'm like, all right then. Hey, $5 worth of what? He says, I got some Tina Turner.
I want to edit the meditation.
Okay.
The second time we go through it, first time we'll keep it the way it is.
Right.
Second time we go through it, I just want to do one, show me the way, your love will light the way. And then we just go into
Into the
and your
part.
joy and your
Right.
peace and your truth,
See,
because it's
the
too long.
The second we hear you say "and," we're there.
Yeah, because so I'm going to take that out. I'm going to
Okay.
take the line out that says joy, peace, truth.
Okay.
Take that out, and we're just going to do one verse of your love, and then and you're done, because it went on too long.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like it's too
too
long.
long, definitely. Okay, cool. Y'all get that?
Did y'all get that?
Good, I don't say.
Sorry. Yeah, chimes are in the same place. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to come and do that. That would be fun. And you're there Monday? Monday. Monday. I'm here for class till 9 o'clock. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you? Good, thank you. Great to see you this morning. Hi.
My phone's right here. I have to show you.